I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land we meet on together today, the Larrakia people. I'd like to pay my respects to Larrakia elders past, present and emerging. I recognise and respect the strength, resilience and their unique cultural and spiritual connections to this country and surrounding waters. I extend this respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here in this room today.
So the idea of the Youth Health Summit came about as we identified a need to have more young people involved in planning youth health priorities in the Northern Territory. The Northern Territory is a unique place with a younger population and its own strengths and challenges. Therefore, it is important to involve young people in setting these priorities. It started with an event in 2019 where young people came together to identify health priorities, and the first NT Youth Health Declaration was created. It identified 4 main health priorities. These include mental health, sexual health, youth involvement in health service planning, and environmental and climate change. So the 2021 event aimed to not only identify priorities, but also work towards identifying solutions from young people's perspectives as well. Also for a greater youth involvement in planning and upskilling and shared learning.
So these were some of the photos that we took during the planning of the Youth Health Summit. We were fortunate enough to have Adam Drake, the founder of the Balanced Choice program, come in to teach all of us about facilitating workshops and in a fun and engaging way. So we had planned 2 full-day events in Darwin and Alice Springs with guest speakers and also, catering and all that. But unfortunately, due to COVID, we had to move everything online.
So due to COVID, like Ashanti said, we had to shift it online. That was a little bit challenging for the team and everyone working towards the Youth Health Summit. But we had to ask ourselves some questions on how it could be engaging for young people and how we could potentially have the same result as online if we were to hold an event. So in order to do that, we called everyone that registered and we checked what their youth health priority they would like to be more involved into. And then we included them in small online groups. They also had an opportunity to receive phone credit as well, just to take away some barriers that could have prevented them from engaging in the online Youth Health Summit. They also got offered vouchers for attending, so every young person that attended the sessions got a voucher. There was a podcast series which featured guest speakers. The sessions only went for an hour and a half online, because young people do have a short attention span. We worked with Adam Drake, as Ashanti said, and he trained us up to be able to facilitate with the young people and make it as engaging as we could. And up there we have the 2 days planned out. So the first day was with the young people and the second day was presenting it all to everybody, like the health professionals and all that. So the online summit, what are youth health priorities in the Northern Territory and solutions for a better future, which were the demandments that came out of the priorities. 38 young people aged 16 to 25 years were involved in consultations, podcasts, panel discussions and the workshop sessions, and over 70 young people and service providers attended the online Youth Health Summit over the 2 days.
Now we would like to share a short video of the demands presented by the facilitators.
Yesterday, a range of online workshops took place to identify youth health priorities and hear from young people about what was important to them and how they thought the problem could be fixed.
So one of the first amendments that we discussed was providing more education and support around mental health for young people, families and communities.
Raise awareness around the importance of returning to country.
Set up healing centres and programs that promote reconnection to country and culture. In our discussion, we talked about how raising the age of youth being sent to detention centres, because it's the age of 10 that's the youngest.
It was a great conversation, and what flowed throughout was open and honest communication. I think that's what we had yesterday, which is great.
What we came up with was support school nurses to provide counselling and sexual health checks.
Providing education and personal development, professional development, and providing counselling and sexual health checks is the way to go. Implementing a sexual and reproductive health day across all schools that are age appropriate and with all genders. We think that sexual health, the discussion should start at a young age because it can happen at any age.
Provide a 24/7 service app for survivors of sexual harassment and assault with follow-up sessions and links to train police officers.
Provide free pad and tampon dispensers at schools and universities and free contraceptives in place for people that need them. Not everyone has money to buy contraceptives and stuff like that, so I think.
So improving access to service demands, provide transport. So having a bus to enable young people and their families to access health services. Develop online health education, including prevention designed by young people. To create awareness about health services and promote them. Enable culturally appropriate health services that embed interpreters, local knowledge and place-based workers. Our last amendment there was provide a clear statement about privacy and confidentiality when accessing health services.
Obviously stop investing in fuel and gas and fossil fuels immediately and start investing in renewable energies. Being able to protect our waterways from overdevelopment, reduce our carbon footprint and set a date for carbon neutrality in the NT. Greater lobbying from the NT government to federal government for increased awareness and improvement management of tropical diseases. Protecting natural diversity by investing in native animal breeding programs and pest control, as well as provide better housing and infrastructure in remote communities, and including renewable energies and resources and improved water supply. So there's a lot of different information that we and very broad information around that environment and linking that those health priorities to the environment.
It's provided us with some really clear, practical recommendations, what we've named the demandments or the demands, on how to address young people's major concerns around the factors that are impacting their health and wellbeing. The 4 priorities that were raised in 2019 have not changed, which clearly signifies how deeply important these priorities really are to the health and wellbeing of our young people in the Territory, and how we've still got a lot of work to do to address them. And having observed the sessions yesterday and hearing young people's in-depth discussions around these concerns, their priorities and the formulation of their demands, it's been really clear that running across all of the priorities was the really important point that young people request that their support network, so this includes their families and their communities, are supported to better understand these priorities and the ways that they can better support young people to engage in the systems that they need to promote positive change. Coming together is the beginning, keeping together is progress, but working together is success.
Your recommendations is a part of the solution to improve health for young Territorians. The first 6 episodes of the Menzies Youth Choices, Youth Voices have dropped and are now available on YouTube and Spotify. This series of podcasts from a range of relevant, amazing Territorians, and I, for one, who actually helped out with the interviewing, was completely blown away, and I know you guys will be too when you get to see them.
Here are some of the graphics that were created of the demands from each priority.
So the outcomes of the Youth Health Summit that we held last year, we have resources available on the Menzies website that you can access if you want to have a look. Also, 15 podcasts were made due to the Youth Health Summit that have young people, experts and elders in it as well. We also got invited to the Parliament House to have a minister meeting with Lauren Moss and Eva Lawler to talk about the amendments that came out of the priorities. And the findings have been used to inform consultation and policy for the youth-friendly health services guideline being developed by NT Health, also networks being established and co-designed. So some of the lessons learned from the Youth Health Summit were the feedback we got from young people. They liked connecting with each other and hearing each other's thoughts about health priorities and amendments. Along with service providers, we got some feedback for them to listen more and engage young people at an earlier stage. It was very welcoming by young people, service providers and researchers, giving it an opportunity to improve things for all young people in the Northern Territory. Okay, so to meet youth health demandments, where do we go from here? So the young people, after the discussions and sessions, highlighted holistic approaches, healing centres, services working together, and what does this mean for alcohol and drug services? So young people have beautiful and complex lives. They are going through transformation to adulthood, but are not yet adults. Navigating their way through this transformation, they're finding themselves, they may need extra guidance from external people, as it is a very confusing period of their life, especially during those ages. A lot of changes happening, they're developing in different ways, new ways. They're having a lot of realizations for themselves and finding themselves along their journey, and it really reflects in their actions most of the time. And it would be good if services would acknowledge this, and the summit highlighted these few approaches. So the holistic approach, understanding the complexity of a young person's life and look at the whole story rather than one specific thing. Using a holistic approach by considering a young person's mental health, family, social life, physical and cultural aspect of their life to identify the problems that may be present and contributing to AOD concerns or problems. By identifying factors in the young person's life that may need extra attention to help them grow stronger and assist their AOD concerns or problems. They may need extra assistance and guidance through identifying and stabilising their foundation for recovery. Ensuring factors in their life are strong and supported, work from their strengths and how they can get better, provide choices to them so they have endless opportunities for paths, and to consider who should be supporting them along their journey, who's appropriate for their growth. The next one that the young people identified was healing centres. So somewhere that young people can have a safe space to go to, that gives them the opportunity to connect to culture through art, storytelling and nature. That could look anywhere from workshops of art sessions, basket weaving, nature walks, yarning circles, and that will give them the opportunity to get support from elders, knowledge that they might need, and gives them a stronger connection to culture, along with creating opportunities for pathways to employment by using their strengths.
Different services collaborating to decrease stigma for young people seeking help and guidance. Having access to resources and helping other organisations to ensure young people's needs are being met by looking at the situation rather than their AOD concerns. Young people shouldn't have to repeat themselves to a lot of organisations, therefore having services work together is the better option, I reckon. Practitioners need to understand youth have different service needs. They are not adults, and so they may require additional understanding and care. Giving young people a sense of control over their choices for service, and giving options, honesty, goal setting and flexibility. Prevention is better than cure. Raising awareness, early interventions in schools, sporting events, social media that are accessible to young people, and provide information which is suited to young people. More engaging, age-appropriate facts, tips and practical steps. Having a holistic approach includes key mentors.
We have a video of one of the girls, the young people that were on the podcast, and she talks about barriers of accessing services that I would like to share with you all.
In addition to your job with Congress, you also work with Headspace as a youth advisor, and Headspace provide mental health support for young Territorians. So you mentioned shame. What do you think are the other barriers for young people in accessing all services, but particularly mental health ones?
Like I said before, I think there's a lot of shame around mental health and education as well. I think education's a massive thing within the schools, and just making young people aware of all the services they can use. Like you can use Headspace, you can use other services that provide mental health services too, and it's all confidential, and just making sure that younger people understand that their information and their medical information is all confidential, and you can go get the help that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that the confidentiality is more challenging in smaller towns?
Oh, definitely, especially because you've got a lot of families in small towns as well, and a lot of families tend to work at the same health services that you tend to go to use. So yeah, just making sure that when you're going to use a service that they're educating you on how secure and private your information is.
Yeah, that's really important. And we're hoping young people and service providers listen to these podcasts. And I think that's a really important message for service providers who are working in smaller towns.
Another young person who talks about the importance of mentorship and how it has positively affected his path.
And just getting in trouble with the court. I was on that track as well until we sat down with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's really good.
He got he got a couple of us young fellas, when we were sitting down, and then he just got up and said, "You don't want to do this thing things that I did before in the past." He seen us going through tough times, breaking in. I've been in trouble with the court, with the police, and it's hard to get out of that trouble. And after sitting down with him, just gave me a clear path where I should go,
Yeah.
And I looked at my younger siblings and thought, I don't want to be this bad person for them, doing bad things, making wrong decisions. I want them to look up to me, like how I looked up to my older cousin.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I also would like to end, now that we're coming closer to the ending of our presentation, to hear from Emma King, a young person that was also included in the podcast, and she has a very powerful message about change from a young person's perspective.
Can you tell us a little about your experience of advocating for change?
Yeah, sure. Advocating for change in a school is like advocating for change anywhere. It's arduous. It takes a long time. It's hard. You get pushback. You find allies that really support you and help you. But at the end of the day, when you're trying to make change, you have to ask people to give up something. People have to say, I've thought about this wrong. They might have thought they were doing it right, and now they have to rethink that, or they have to give up a certain position. And that's where you get that pushback. And it rarely comes from a place of true malice, but just from more of a place of self-interest at the end of the day. But my school's been pretty good. We have a lot of Aboriginal students here. And for me, advocating for change for Aboriginal people is at the core of what I do and at the core of what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So it made sense to start now, why wait? And I could see some problems, and I could see solutions to fix those problems.
So future plans for the Youth Health Summit, to have a 2023 event, continue to develop the network and responding to requests to hold a summit in Central Australia and other regions around the Northern Territory.